CFD trading through our EQ Trader platform. Firstly, what is a CFD? Quite simply, CFD stands for Contract for Difference. And how I explain it to most clients, and probably the easiest way it'll come across, is if you liken it to a home loan. Okay, and what I mean by that is, let's use an example. If you had two houses which are identical in every single way, they're situated right next to each other, they've got the same views, the same amount of bedrooms and what have you. Let's say one investor comes along and he buys house number one for R1 million cash. Effectively, he owns that house. That is a normal equity. Let's say another investor comes along, he buys house number two, and he doesn't have R1 million cash, but what he does have is 100,000 Rand deposit. He puts down the 100,000 Rand deposit, he gets a 900,000 Rand loan from the bank, and effectively he's also living in a R1 million house, enjoying all the same benefits as his neighbor. Now let's say 6 months down the line, both individuals decide to sell their respective houses for 1.2 million Rand. House number one, obviously that investor makes 200,000 Rand clean. Investor number two would have to pay back the bank first and then make his 200,000 Rand as well. Now what we haven't accounted for is the interest being paid on the second house. Now a CFD works exactly the same. You put a margin or a deposit to get that same exposure to R1 million Rand, for example, and you also pay interest, but you pay interest on a daily basis. So what I'm trying to illustrate to you is the biggest benefit of a CFD is the fact that you can put a margin of the cost but get the same exact exposure and benefits of a normal equity. Now that's fantastic, but what people do, instead of taking a tenth of the cost, they opt for 10 times the exposure, so therefore having 10 houses for the price of the one R1 million Rand house. Now that's extremely risky, because should the market move against you, obviously the risk is directly proportional to any fluctuations in the market. So basically that's exactly how a CFD works. Now on our homepage gt247.com, you're able to actually get the platform directly onto your desktop by selecting first the Java install button, clicking on it, it will open up, run it, and then you'll be able to select the EQ Trader icon on the left hand side, which will also automatically run. What it doesn't do though is create a shortcut on your desktop. By selecting Start, going to your control panel, then selecting, double-clicking on Java, and then selecting View, you'd be able to actually bring up exactly the EQ Trader platform. There we have it there. And then by just selecting the Create Shortcut arrow, effectively you'd have the shortcut placed on your desktop. You would make sure that you select Apply and select OK, and then it would be created on your desktop, as I will illustrate to you now. There it is there. And I'd be double clicking and the Java would first run, and you'd actually have to select Java, and then a little pop-up would come for your username and password. Important to note again that the username and password is exactly the same username and password that you would use for the website and to access your normal account and all your banking details and what have you through our website. As you can see, very similar to the Future Trader platform. It's also broken up into several blocks that I am moving around on screen right now. This obviously gives clients customization. They can have blocks wherever they please. Again, just as a rule of thumb, you've got the ability to say reset settings, and effectively everything would be back into place. I'm just going to start on the right hand side. We've got our product navigator where all our derivatives are listed. Remember, a CFD being a derivative of a underlying equity. We've got them listed there. I will get back to that in a second. We've got a What's New column. We're always adding new CFDs to our EQ Trader platform. Why we don't offer every single CFD is simply the matter of liquidity. The more illiquid a particular stock, the more risk is associated to that particular stock. So in other words, you don't want to buy something and then struggle to sell it. The more illiquid the stock, the more risk. I will explain that a little bit in detail later as well. You've got your What's Hot tab, where we've got several CFDs listed, and we've got a star rating associated to each one. the higher the star rating, the higher the volumes of trades we're receiving through our own book. So in other words, GT247.com's database and client list only, not the general market. We've got your volatility index, busy showing you a clear indication of how that particular product is currently fluctuating in the market. And you've got your bull and bear indicators, whereby your bear indicates that people are currently selling that particular instrument, and a bull indicating that people are currently buying that instrument. If there's no clear indication, there will be a grayed out bull and bear indicator, meaning that people are both currently buying and selling that instrument. Now, by clicking on my products, opening my CFDs, we've got various different CFDs, the most popular being our equity CFDs, and what you've got listed here is 140 most liquid stocks on the JSE. And if I were to click on one, for example, Coronation, I'd be double clicking on it, and what will automatically happen is Coronation, the actual share, would move into my watch list, which is this block that I'm illustrating now. Now, I think you would have noticed that as soon as I double clicked on that, my favorite sticker at the top here has now indicated Coronation Fund Managers Limited, and it's expressing the current price, the movement of today, and the high of the low of today. So again, you're just purely viewing this instrument at its current time. What I will do is just open up the watch list. You've got the ability to also select various watch lists in terms of watch list 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can rename them as well. But there we have people currently buying this instrument, its volatility, its bid price, and its bid volume. Now, important to note that that is the volume of shares available at that particular price. So again, you've got a spread difference between the bid price and the offer price, and now you've also got a volume of shares available at that particular price. You've got the last traded price through the platform, the change of today, the high of today, the low of today, when it was last updated. Remember that this is current South African time, open and close, those particular prices obviously, and then a status indicating a green tick that it's currently open. Obviously after 5 o'clock you would have a red cursor in there saying that the market is currently closed. Now, assuming you've done your homework on this particular product or share, Coronation, and you're looking to jump into the trade, you can do so by just clicking our hotkeys, either by selling or buying. Remember that these share prices are also expressed in cents, all right? So at the moment, Coronation is 69 Rand 30 cents, and you've obviously got its high of today and low of today also expressed. As I did mention, you've got a volume of shares available at each price, so you've got to keep that in mind, that you can't always just get out for whatever denomination you're looking for. Now, as I said, assuming you've done your homework, what you would do is you'd right-click on it, you'd say place a trade, and effectively your trade ticket would come up. Important to note as well that you are now buying an amount of shares. Okay, very important on this platform. Remember that you're always counterbalancing your book. So in other words, if I were to put 100 shares, for example, in the future, if I was wanting to sell, obviously I could sell for 100 shares and make a profit. That's exactly what a contract for difference is. But I've also got the ability to sell in the future for 50 shares, and that obviously being a partial closure. Should I select buy, you'll see that everything is loaded in terms of me buying 100 Coronation shares. My margin, okay, the required margin is the holding deposit, as I expressed in terms of my house analogy, and then you've also got the commission that will be charged, our brokerage, when actually placing the trade. As soon as I select buy, you'll see automatically at the bottom right hand side of the screen you'll get a trade successful. And what I've basically done is I've now got an open transaction, an open position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up so we can see it a little bit better. And there, my position ID, you can see that I've bought Coronation. I bought 100 shares of Coronation. That's the margin that I've put down. As you can see, it is reflected at the top, retained margin. My margin requirement is currently in line, obviously, with my margin, just simply because I've bought it. That's the current price. There's no profit movement on it at the moment. It hasn't fluctuated. Important to note as well, on this platform, you're getting charged 50 basis points in and out of a trade. So in other words, 0.5% in and 0.5% out. So make sure that you've got enough profit so when you do actually close a trade, it covers that initial, or should I say, that late cost for actually closing the trade out. Right, having that in your open transactions, we're just going to let that sit and hopefully make a profit. You've also got your information tab over here, messages, sends, info and errors. Should we need you for whatever reason, we will obviously give you a call, but if we can see that you are currently trading, we will pop you a message through there. SEND stands for Securities Exchange News Service. You've got all the information coming through the JSE getting listed here. Obviously, it is quite extensive. I wouldn't recommend you going through it each one because your whole day will be taken up. Keep in mind that it's only relevant if it actually has a fundamental difference on the share price movement and if you're only trading that particular share. You've got your info, which keeps a log of exactly what you're doing within the platform, and then you've got your errors tab, which keeps a track record of any errors that actually happens within the platform. You've also got your full control panel in terms of your net asset value. That's everything, your free cash plus your profit on open positions, which gives you your NAV, and then also retained margin. That again is your holding deposit. Remember that as soon as you close the trade out, that retained margin will be refunded to you. You've got the ability to swap between a simulated account and a live account at any time. Every client does have 100,000 Rand Monopoly money available to him or her. And we've got our reports on system as well, our market-to-market report and our trade history report as well. That keeps a full log of all trades, and your market-to-market report is effectively your profit and loss from intraday trading. In terms of the platform and assistance, you'll notice that we've got question marks all over the platform. Should you need any assistance whatsoever, please just click on these question marks. Also, the big top right hand side, we've got the big question mark. That's the full trading manual or user manual for this particular platform. Thanks very much.